Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Nancy Rebecca. I am a registered nurse. I've been teaching psychic and intuitive development for 30 years, and I love to talk about everything frequency. And I don't know about you, but I'm super excited about all the material that's coming out about 3I Atlas. But I really want to kind of address Stardust. So in my series of Stardust and the Soul, messages from the ancient universe, today I'm going to be talking about 3I Atlas as an elder comet that has stardust within, and a cosmic awakening begins. And how does the stardust impact us? Well, I've done a super deep dive on this, and so I have divided this into 5 segments. And so let's get started to understand our cosmic origins, our galactic insights, and everything that's going to be unfolding as we create our light body over the next several years. As a registered nurse who loves the physiology of the body, I can't be more excited about it. But let's go ahead and get started, and welcome to my channel. All right, here's this title in the first segment of my notes. I have so many notes that there's no way I could possibly remember it all. But you are literally stardust. So when I talk about stardust, it can sound kind of poetic or symbolic or something that, stories are made of, mystical, fantastical stories. But the truth is more astonishing than you might have originally believed. Carl Sagan was famous for saying that nitrogen in our DNA, calcium in our teeth, and iron in our blood were made from the interiors of collapsing stars. Now, Carl Sagan died in 1996, but I can still remember when I was younger just kind of how far out there he sounded. And I remember at the time, I don't even think I could listen to an entire show of his because it seemed so far out there. I just didn't think that I had the brain capacity to conceptualize what he was even saying. Can you relate to that? So, as he said, we are made of stardust, and this isn't just a spiritual language. He was an astrophysicist, so this is astrophysics. Every atom of your bones, your breath, your heartbeat, and your consciousness is forged in the raging furnaces of many, many suns within our galaxy that's within our universe. Lighter elements such as carbon and oxygen were created slowly inside the stars over billions of years, while heavier elements such as iron that pumps through your veins, through your blood, is born only when explosive deaths of stars happen, when they literally explode and released iron particles out into, like a mist, out into the universe, eventually making its way here towards Earth. So our bodies are about 99% composed of the elements of oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and calcium, and phosphorus. And those same elements also are found everywhere in our galaxies in the Milky Way. And a survey of 150,000 stars recently revealed something extraordinary. And that is that humans share 97% of the same atoms as the galaxy itself. Now, I didn't know this when I was guided by the blue beings of light to bring through this series. I didn't realize all of this, did you? So we are the galaxy expressing it in human form. So this is where the mystical piece starts to come in, because if the universe is built our bodies out of the ashes of ancient suns, then consciousness may simply be stardust remembering itself. In Philip Pullman's Dark Matters, dust is consciousness. So I don't know if you ever read that book series. I absolutely love it. The Dark Materials, where you had the villains are collecting the dust of consciousness because they want to rule the world, as they have all the stardust that they're going to gather, and they're going to keep it all to themselves. So if you haven't read the books or watched the movie series, I do highly recommend it, because it so much, in many ways, kind of aligns with what we are working on, right? Kind of what's coming through to our consciousness at this time. So in our world, elements act like scaffolding for our consciousness to anchor into physical form. So like hydrogen and helium become the first breath, the original exhale of the universe. Carbon becomes the storyteller, the shapeshifter that allows life to take many, many forms. Oxygen becomes the great transformer. And as we know, oxygen fuels fire, can enhance our breath and metabolism into motion. And iron becomes the anchor, born in these last moments of a dying star, now pulsing through your blood and spinning at the center of the earth. And when you begin to understand your own body this way, it's not just a random biological matter. You begin to understand why intuition, conscious awarenesses, spiritual awakenings are just not so odd after all. And right now, there's a new chapter that's taking place in the world. The story about Stardust is happening above us as our interstellar 3I Atlas comet is visiting our solar system. And it is older than our solar system. It's likely guesstimated to be around 7 billion years old. It's entered our neighborhood. I keep calling it the interloper. It's entered our neighborhood carrying primordial dust from another star system. So think about this. If it's been traveling from the furthest aspects of our universe, it's been passing by all kinds of planets, all kinds of suns, all kinds of star systems, other meteors, and it's just collecting up all this dust to deliver at your doorstep. This is only the third interstellar object to come into, or has been recognized to come into, our solar system. In every sense, it is an elder. It has passed near Mars as the astronomers noticed something strange. There were some small changes in its trajectory that couldn't be explained by gravity alone. And this often is because of off-gassing. Ancient ice, so imagine that there's ice inside 3I Atlas, and as it's coming near the sun and it's getting heated up and supercharged by the sun, any kind of ice that's frozen in the comet is going to melt, and then all this steam is going to come off, and then maybe that has the capacity to move the comet around. So this is ancient ice, ancient mist that's coming into our solar system as well, vaporizing and releasing a lot of material into our personal atmosphere, and then you breathe that in. So when 3I Atlas slipped behind the sun, observers noticed that it was temporarily lost in its visual to us, but when it reemerged, there was a dust cloud around it that appeared more diffuse, suggesting that the solar heat intensified its release. And this Elder Comet has been shedding ancient stardust with the solar winds at the same time. And so when I first kind of visited the comet in my astral body, like I said, I didn't see or sense a spaceship. I felt like I was standing on a rock. I didn't see any extraterrestrial beings. However, I could strongly feel that there was some type of intelligent influence over it. And then in my last video, talked about my students that traveled to 3I Atlas and all their different perspectives about what's going on. But there are it looks like jets coming off of it. It's like steam, or it's like jets are stardust bursting, and it can kind of move, the comet around. So in some ways it can look like it's being steered. So who knows? There's just a lot of information out there, and it's really important that you gather your own information, your own data, or listen to people that you feel like you can trust. But because I teach intuitive psychic development, it's the most important that you listen to your own gut instincts and your own intuition about this. But the bottom line is, it is a lot of fun. We have to admit, it is a lot of fun to explore things like the ancient messages from the stars, because there's a lot of other news going on in the world that we need a break from once in a while, right? So here's where it gets really interesting. Depending on the particle size, the dust from Three-Eye Atlas can begin to come into the Earth's atmosphere within 1 week of kind of surging or off-gassing that dust, or up to a month, which means we may already be experiencing some of this ancient stardust that's coming 7 billion years ago and coming from the furthest place in the universe. But there are larger kind of microscopic grains of primordial material that could take months, maybe a couple of years, and then are heavier, kind of denser materials that's kind of breaking off or spraying into our atmosphere. It could take decades before it actually arrives here on Earth. So there is this kind of intuitive acceleration that many of us are feeling, because I do feel everything's a frequency, and we've got this frequency that's like 7 billion years old, and it's impacting our energy field. It's awakening us to our intuition very, very rapidly. So you are not separate from the universe. You are made up of the universal memory, and the stars are communicating to us, and we communicate to the stars. So your body, your intuition, and this is a part of your evolution. So let me just talk a little bit about quantum entanglement. So here's where I was meditating on this, and I thought, okay, so if our solar system is alive, if Mars and Jupiter and Venus and Mercury and Uranus and Pluto and all our sun and our moon, like if all of it has a personality to it, an influence to it, and then we are made of the stardust of those planets, or like Three-Eye Atlas that is 7 billion years old, older than our solar system, definitely older than our Earth, then if we're influenced by that, what's that communicating back and forth to us? What is that level of consciousness that's coming to the surface? I don't know the answer, but I do know that I feel, my theory is, we are much more influenced in our consciousness than we may have originally believed. And so these are signals that are coming through. So why it matters around consciousness and stardust, because in quantum entanglement, that's where you have a movement on one side that creates a movement on another side. And according to the laws of quantum entanglement, you can have a connection a couple of neighborhoods away in the galaxy, and you're connected to that stardust, and something can happen out in that galaxy that then it gets reflected in the stardust that's within you. Like, it's these concepts like, why does it matter, right? Well, I have to go to work today. Why does that even matter? But often we're wondering, why are we so sensitive? Or why are we empathically feeling things? Or what is it that we're seeing? Or we have many of you talk about that deeper sense of that knowing that you're connected to all that is. And so the quantum entanglement happens when you've got two photons, electrons, and atoms become so deeply linked that they share one unified state. And this is why Einstein threw up his hands and called it spooky. And I'll talk more about that in another episode, because can you imagine him saying, okay, this is spooky? Because in classical physics, nothing, not even light, can travel faster than light. But in entanglement, nothing travels. Nothing. So let's kind of think about it in this other form. You know, if you have children, or you have parents, or you have siblings, or you have a spouse, or you have a partner, you have a bestie, you're connected, really connected to your animals, your pets that you have at home. Maybe you're really connected to nature. You can feel, that's what that quantum entanglement is that you can feel, not just twins, something's wrong, something's wrong. Or I can tell you're excited. I can feel your excitement. What's happening? Like somebody has a sense about something, and at the same time you feel it at the same exact time. And there was never any kind of seen connection between the two. Because entanglement doesn't travel. It acts as if the particles were never truly separate to begin with, even if they're billions of years apart. So quantum entanglement reveals to us that separation is an illusion at the smallest levels of reality. And particles that once touched remain connected, and information is shared non-locally. And this means that its scientific roots like telepathy, intuition, are synchronistic, multidimensional perceptions. And Stardust itself may carry entangled states. And I will often talk about this because, I work with a lot of students, and they'll say, I just cut them off. I just don't talk to them anymore. I had to set that boundary, or it's like you may not talk to your parents, or maybe you're a parent that doesn't talk to your children. You're still energetically completely connected to them. You are still being influenced by their moods and things that are going on. You are impacting their moods. All that's happening, and you all are going to be growing in that knowledge, wisdom, and consciousness over the next several years as you become that greater sense of light within you. So interstellar objects such as 3I Atlas may bring entangled particles into our energy field, which just may leave us forever connected to 3I Atlas. Now, let's kind of just talk about some metaphysical framing around all of this. Quantum entanglement is basically letting us know that nothing is created in isolation. It's not like this lonely little island all by itself that does not engage with anything else. And you as a human is the same exact way. You are not on an island onto yourself. Even if you stay in your home with the doors locked and you just don't go out and you just don't listen to the news, you are still impacted by what's going on in the frequencies in the energy world that surround you. So once two particles share information, they remain bonded through space and time forever and ever and ever. And so when the dust enters your body, your breath, our waters, our consciousness, we become a part of the cosmic conversation. And so I know that just as I'm sharing this material with you, if you just kind of tune in and see if you can tap into your inner sensitivity, you may start to experience and feel maybe 3I Atlas, our elder universal material that's being shared with us at this time. So cosmic material does influence life on Earth. It is highly, highly possible and plausible. Cosmic rays change our atmosphere, and it can change our biology as well. The cosmic particles that enter the Earth's atmosphere, they can alter ionization levels, electrical charge distributions, just like solar flares coming through, radiation exposure through those solar flares, and cloud formation. And cosmic dust, it does enter your body. Not just sometimes, like right now, if you take a nice deep breath in, there's cosmic dust that you are inhaling into your lungs. If you take a drink of water, there's cosmic dust in all of our waters, and it settles into our oceans, our soil, and all of our plant life that we eat. We are literally integrating cosmic influences moment by moment by moment. And stardust carries its own electromagnetic signature. So it has a frequency. You have a frequency. Everybody has a frequency. And we're actually made up of more than one frequency. Like I can be a little bit angry, a little bit sad, a little bit frustrated or impatient, and excited about learning something new all at the same time. And each and every one of you are exactly the same. So these stardust particles can be influenced by their 7 billion years of experiences that they're going to share with you as this little particle of dust that enters your energy field. And so imagine you've got your own frequency, and now all of a sudden there's this new frequency that's coming into your field. It's very plausible that it can influence how you feel. And it's my opinion that of these 7 billion years of influence, we're really going to awaken to our intuition and our psychic abilities in ways we just never could begin to imagine. So if 3I Atlas is a piece of material, it is, that's 7 billion years old, and it's either, it's a collection, it's been collecting this kind of cosmic stardust all along the way. If we believe in that cosmic entanglement, or as Einstein said, spooky particles, like that's spooky when you've got one particle moving and another particle moving. So would that mean that 3I Atlas has this expression of all the places it's visited? Kind of like you going on a road trip and collecting postcards, right? You are forever influenced by all the places you've ever traveled and all the places that all the people that you've met, and then you come and visit them and you bring all those influences to someone else. So 3I Atlas, what if it's possible that we're being imprinted with all of this ancient knowledge and ancient wisdom? I mean, the comet isn't just bringing matter, it's bringing with it potentially a lot of memories. Do you think that it's energetically plausible that your light body can respond to something before your human body does? Well, in actuality, they've done studies on this where they, in California, they did this study where they would set people in front of like this television screen, and then they would just flash pictures. Some pictures were of flowers or mountains or waterfalls or children playing on the playground, or maybe violent images, someone being shot, a war happening, and then they'd go back to flowers, or they'd go back to a beautiful sunrise. And what they found was before, let's say you're the one sitting in front of that screen, they were able to have all these electrodes connected to you. You were having a brain response before your human eyes actually saw the image. So then, yes, it's not just plausible. They've done studies on this, but we're talking about stardust now. So can you experience through your light body, your human energy field, maybe the pulses from 3i Atlas before you actually visually see it? So your light body is plasma based of frequencies. It's a field that interacts directly with cosmic plasma, photons, and magnetic currents. And so when cosmic objects like 3i Atlas release material into our atmosphere, your light body just might feel it and experience it first. I can imagine that I'm feeling it. I do know that when it went behind the sun, I did experience some form of absence of it. And then when it kind of came back around again, then I could feel it again. But again, you're left with wondering, am I just imagining this? And these are the things we're going to be asking ourselves over the next few years as we all become more intuitively sensitive. And your emotional field can respond in a nanosecond, and your physical body then will adjust last. So the universe, but this is the bottom line, the universe is not a one-way system. It is an engaged system. You're receiving this information through your auric field, which is like a motherboard of a computer system. You get that information and then you send signals back out to the field. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about the great collective, consciousness in the world. That we want to try to communicate what it is that's uplifting and higher frequencies and a frequency of kindness and solidarity and uplifting ways, wanting to see a world of peace or wanting to express peace in the world or forgiveness. So this is where we want to send those frequencies out because I do believe that we can influence it through what we're feeling. But do I always feel nice and kind and forgiving? No. But I don't let myself live there. So I let myself turn it around when I have visited those frequencies for a while and let them settle in my body, and then I get my head back on track again. So when you enter a coherent heart-brain state with the entire universe, you stabilize the local field, you can help shift probability patterns, outcomes, you can influence collective consciousness, you can emit measurable electromagnetic waves. So I was just talking about that. So it's talking about the observer influence. So recently, there's the CERN project, I think it's in Switzerland, and where they have these atoms that go around and they can really enhance the speed of it. And there was some story that there was some type of portal that was created. And what they realized was they weren't influencing these atoms, but something on the other side of the portal was influencing the atoms. So something outside of our system on the other side of this kind of portal veil was looking at these atoms and influencing it. So it was almost like I'm looking out there and somebody out there is looking at me and influencing the energy field. Now, I did try to do a deep dive to find out more about that because I found it quite exciting, and unfortunately I couldn't find out more. So these days, we really need to be discerning and vet. So if anybody knows any more about that, I would love to hear about it in the comment section. So movement of stardust, does it affect your light body? Highly likely. And yes, through coherence. And can your light body affect the universe? Highly likely. Way back when the blue star beings shared with me, and I had forgotten all about this, I was looking back at my notes. Years ago, they said, you are the returning stardust. You are the universe awakening itself. And it's like, I don't know. I remember at the time it was like, I don't even know what it means. But nowadays I'm starting to get a little bit more of an idea. So the universe is interacting with us, and we are interacting back with the universe. So here's a little metaphor I'm going to leave you with: the cosmic tuning fork. So now imagine that you're holding a tuning fork, and there's a second tuning fork across the room. And then you tap and strike your tuning fork, and the second tuning fork, without ever being touched, begins to vibrate. You can feel that, the sound or the waves coming through the second tuning fork. So now expand that experience to the universe. I think that's what I'm playing with, that idea of just how much we influence everything around us and just how much we are influenced by everything around us. So it's like if a star sends out a sound or a signal, you ring. You have a ring to you. And if you send out a signal, it has a ring out there somewhere in the universe. And the universe can feel it, and you can feel it, because we are all cosmic tuning forks. So touch one, the other vibrates, no matter how much distance is between us. And I know that I'm talking about some big galactic events. It's really getting us prepared consciously for a lot of galactic events that we're going to be having over the next several years. But let's just bring it home for a moment and remembering, just in our relationships at home, however your tuning fork gets influenced, it can influence everyone around you. So you want to be a little bit more conscious about how you want to be influencing your world. Anyway, I'm excited about this topic. We've got a lot more to talk about. We are having our Stardust activation that's going to be happening on the winter solstice. Registration is open. You can get your tickets to the event. And if you choose to sign up for the VIP event, we're going to do an extra bonus edition on, what's the date? December 19th, where 3i Atlas is going to be closest to the Earth. So I'm excited to share that with you all. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk more about Stardust in the next episode of this series on next Saturday. So enjoy.